Hello and welcome to Noni, your morning chat show with the topics and opinions that get us all talking. Today, bucket lists. Are they a good or a bad thing? And going solo. Are you a Billy No Mates if you do things on your own, or is it just a sign of independence? We'll be hearing what you think with your comments and views. Joining me on today's show, YANGA's very own roving reporter, Tosin Yusuf, and journalist, TV and radio presenter Tomi Badejoko. It seems to be the in trend at the moment, listing things you want to experience before you literally kick the bucket. Whether it's a thrill-seeking adventure, learning a musical instrument or running a marathon, bucket lists can be a great incentive. But what if you set unrealistic goals? For some, it can lead to feelings of failure and a lack of self-worth if you can't fulfill them. And let's face it, the whole thought of a bucket list is a little bit morbid. So when, if any, is the right time to start one? Let me come to you first, Tomi.
Oh, okay.
Do you have a bucket list?
Yes, I do. I think bucket list is good. It's one of those things that helps you. I think it's just like a goal setting thing that motivates you to do something or achieve something before you kick the bucket, right?
Yeah, literally. But then I suppose, is that, I have goals, you know, God, with 3 kids, you know, it's like by 8 a.m. I should have, you know, conquered the world, really. But I wouldn't consider that a bucket list. I would kind of consider that, you know, just setting goals just to get you through the day. Yeah. Like, what do you think, Tosin, differentiates, you know, from having a bucket list and like career goals or just life goals?
Having a bucket list is basically a list of goals and everything you aspire to be or achieve at a certain time in your life. But having goals, I mean, it depends on the goals you mean. If you mean goals career-wise, then it can go on your bucket list. But if you mean like daily goals, being punctual and stuff like that, it doesn't have to go on your bucket list. Those are just things that you should do. But bucket lists are just things you want to achieve at a certain time in your life.
Have you got one?
Yes, I definitely have one. Everyone should have a bucket list because it kind of keeps your spirit of adventure alive. You want to do more, achieve more, and it also helps everyone kind of get rid of that spirit of complacency. It's just being content with where you are, and then you're not really, you know, aspiring to be anything. You're just satisfied with the neutral line of where you are in your life. So it's really important to have that bucket list to like keep you motivated and have something to achieve, have something to look forward to, and yeah.
Oh gosh, that's a good one. I think everybody's going to be inspired to have one. What's the kind of things that are on your bucket list then,
Okay,
Tomi?
so the kind of things on my bucket list are going to a Brazilian carnival. I really want to go for
Rio,
one. I've not
I'd
been
love to go. Take
exactly.
me with you.
Let's go together.
Let's go together.
And also another one would be, I've never attended a World Cup before. So I watch football from TV and I'm like, I want to go to a World Cup someday. And also I want to go to Bora Bora.
Oh,
for the holiday.
I know, and I kind of feel like you're dressed for all these occasions. But what would you say then, ladies? Because there are a lot of people that said, you know, kind of a bucket list it's a class thing, really, because, you know, if you look at the kind of things that are on a typical bucket list, like if you was to Google it or something, you know, you're looking at a trip around the world, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, you know, going to all these fancy restaurants. But then there are many people that couldn't afford it, but they kind of have to have a list or say they've got one to keep up with the Joneses. What do you think about that?
It doesn't matter how big or small your goal is, as long as it's your dream. And it could be, okay, you don't have enough money to travel or do things that you would like to do. It could be like a list of, okay, I want to be the first in my family to own a car. I want to be the first in my family to go to university or things like that. So it doesn't matter how big, as long as it's important to you and it's your dream, then you should achieve it. It doesn't have to be on the same level as someone else. Someone can say, I want to travel to 5 different countries this year, and someone can afford that, but I just want to go to Amsterdam, or I want to go to Ibiza. It's not too far, it's not too expensive, and the cost of that. So as long as it's your dream and the things that you want to achieve, then it's fine. It doesn't have to be anything big, anything major.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't always have to be expensive, does it? True. Would you say, Tomi, with online, you know, social media gets so much flack these days, but I suppose if you look at Pinterest and other social media sites like that, when you're seeing the world, you know, you're kind of changing perceptions of how, let's say, Australia, because I know for some reason, you know, Africans have a lot of strange views about them, but you see how beautiful it is and very welcoming. Do you think that kind of, you know, changes people's perceptions and opens their minds to what they should be doing?
I think so. Obviously, social media is like one of the biggest things right now. I think everyone should have a social media, whether for personal or business. So, and you know, with social media too, obviously with Instagram hashtags, thank God for that. You can actually just, you know, just refine your search to, okay, holiday in you know, maybe let's say Tokyo or something. And when you start seeing all these beautiful pictures, it's like, oh, I want to
goals,
go.
hashtag goals.
I want to go. Hashtag goals. Hashtag travel goals. Hashtag tourist, you know. So most of all these things now inspires us because the social media has made it easy for us to see these things and I want it more. It might not be travel, it might be other things. So let's talk about weight loss now. Some people have that as their goals, you know, and you have a lot of things on social media now, encouraging people, especially moms that want to go like after post-mommy body. Yeah. You know, everybody, you know, you just get encouraged by things. You want to eat healthy. There are a lot of hashtags for you to start eating right. You know, gone are those days that you just have to go to the newspaper and just get information. Now you have the internet. Just Google how to lose weight, how to eat healthy. Now I'm on a goal. You know, I told you about the fantasy goals, or the bucket list, which was down. But the serious ones are like, I want to stop. I've stopped, you know, but I want to stop taking fizzy drinks and, you know, all this other junk food. I just want to eat healthy. So there's some things that might be, you know, good bucket list.
You can you can tailor them to your life, can't you, really?
Yes,
because there are some statistics that say, you know, some people spend, you know, over £12,000 on fulfilling their bucket list, but you don't really have to spend that much money, do you, Tosin?
You can just, it doesn't matter how big it is, like I said. And based on, my bucket list, I had, I was like a size 16 or 14 this time last year.
Really?
I was really fat.
Girl, I need your tips.
Yeah, after this, I'll give you the whole list. But I was
amazing.
really fat, and I was like, when I get married and I have kids, you tend to put on weight when you're pregnant.
Definitely.
So I really want... I really want to lose weight and not have to get to a point where it's a big problem for my health and start having like diseases and long-term ailments because of what I'm eating. So I made sure I changed up my diet. I stopped drinking fizzy drinks.
Same here.
So I lost literally half my body size.
Wow.
This time last year I was literally double my size, and I've gone down. So it really doesn't matter. My one was just to be healthy before a certain age. Before I get into my 20s, I wanted to be, you know, healthy. I don't have to be slim or skinny, but just for health purposes, just to be able to train myself to not like rely on junk food.
And you look absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
And I suppose then, you know, for our viewers and people who are watching, you know, we could say that it's not just about having a bucket list and spending lots of money. It's about setting goals and, you know, they can be about your career, your lifestyle. Yeah. I think because sometimes, you know, bucket lists can be, I would say, not a class thing, but some people can feel segregated from it because they may feel like they, you know, they can't fulfill them.
Yeah, because mostly people just do a bucket list for most. I was like, I want to travel. I want to go to, maybe I want to go to Burj Khalifa, the tallest building, you know, things like that. But they forget that sometimes it's just about things, your achievement. So your achievements can be a very little thing, like Tosin said, losing weight, you know, eating healthy, or maybe be more time conscious, you know, procrastination. You know, you have many,
especially within our community, being time conscious. Yeah. Let's stick to time now. Coming up, we will continue our discussion on the bucket list. Have you started ticking yours off? And are you unique and a trendsetter? If you go out on your own, we'll be hearing your stories and experiences more after the break. Welcome back to Noni. Still to come on today's show. Do you really need to ride in tandem or roll with a group to have a blast? We'll be discussing the fine art of going solo, but first we return to bucket lists. Now, ladies, I've got to be honest with you. I have a bucket list. Some things on them I can't disclose, but there are stuff, you know, like, you know, running a marathon, writing a book, etc., etc. And, you know, every year I kind of look back and I'm like, oh my God, I've not done that. And I do feel a little bit like, oh, I should have. Do you feel like sometimes there can be guilt and a guilty conscience, you know, attached to having a bucket list and not fulfilling them? And if so, why do we bother writing one anyway? And I'm not talking about career goals here. I'm literally talking about things that, you know, you want to do like in your personal life.
Yeah, I think so, because that's the downside of having a bucket list, because sometimes bucket list is good for you to, obviously, it motivates you, pushes you to do things. But on the other side, you now find out that if you don't accomplish those things, you start feeling bad, you start having a form of regret, like, oh, I'm not good enough, I can't do this. And it keeps you on your toes. So in as much as you have a bucket list, but it doesn't make you enjoy the little things in life. So it's like, okay, like now I want to run a marathon or something. Maybe I've not prepared for God knows when, and London Marathon just ended and I didn't sign up for it. And next year I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to sign up for it. And I don't, and I'm feeling so bad, like, oh my God, I need to do this marathon. But you know, by doing that, you tend to ignore the little things in life, you know, that you're meant to appreciate. So sometimes we can get so soaked into our bucket list that when we don't achieve it, we feel some kind of way.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And I suppose, you know, a lot of people say bucket list should really be for those, you know, who are terminally ill, or who have just, you know, met a long lost parent or something, and, you know, they've got a little bit of time left and they want to achieve as many things that they should. Should they really be for that type of person?
Having a bucket list, to me, everyone should have a bucket list. But I understand the cons of having a bucket list. When you don't accomplish things, you feel like you failed. But that's the point of having a bucket list. Every day you can change it up. You can change up the structure. And
shouldn't be taken too seriously.
Shouldn't be taken too seriously. There are different ways of achieving different things. So if one way doesn't work, you can try another route. And one thing having a bucket list does to you is gives you a tunnel vision. So you're so concentrated on achieving a set goal, and then you kind of miss out on new experiences in life. But if it's just about having a balance, basically, you should be open to having new experiences and experiencing new things. But you should also be concentrate on achieving all your set goals. So it's basically having a balance.
I was going to say, Tosin, what is it, Tomi, about our community? You know, when it comes to kind of looking into the future, it's very kind of, it's anti-Christ, it's anti-God.
I know what you're going to.
Even, there are some people in our community that don't even have a will,
that's,
purely because they don't want to look at death or, you know, the future in that way. That's kind of backward, isn't it?
Very. So, yeah, I knew you were going to go to will. And you know what? It's so sad, you know, that you find a lot of Africans who are well educated. Most of us, not even even to the second degree. You know, most people don't have a second degree, not even a first degree. But when it comes to planning out your life, you find out that most of this men or women, they die without even having a will. You know, you don't even get your life in place, because I think the religion plays a part. You know, people feel, no, I reject it. When you're talking about death, it's like they start going all spiritual. But the truth is that it's going to come. And you have to get your home in order. So I think we should all, as Africans, like you say, most times, especially from, you know, no. If you're going to ask a 40-year-old man now, like, do you have a will? It's like, do you want me to die? You know, it's like, well, no, anybody can die at any time. So I think we need to change our mentality of, no, it's spiritual, God is not going to take my life, and face reality, because people die every day.
Gosh, they do, don't they? It's quite a morbid thought, but it's true. But then, of course, living in the present, Tosin, that's a great thing as well, isn't it? You know, doing things ad hoc. You know, you might be going home on the way back from work, and then somebody says, oh, let's pop into this restaurant, let's do this, let's do that. There are some spontaneous things that we should enjoy, right?
Yeah, definitely. Being spontaneous is very important for anyone to experience new things. But there are certain areas in your life where you need to plan. Like if you're going into a marriage or any kind of relationship, you're bringing children into the world.
I'm not sure how much you can plan for marriage, but you know, that's another discussion, isn't it?
You can have, there's just certain things you need to plan for. If you're bringing children into this world, you know there's so many expenses you have to cover. You can't just say, you know what, when they come, we'll see how it goes. You can't be spontaneous in that aspect. So it's definitely still about having a balance. You have to plan the things I planned my next sentence, everything I'm about to do.
Oh wow! Okay, let's see how well planned you are now. Give us a couple of things that are on your bucket list that you would like to achieve.
So, like I was saying, your bucket list doesn't have to be anything too big. Like I think I said this to you before. Like I want to be in a movie in my lifetime, not because it has nothing to do with my career or anything. I just want to be in a movie because why not?
One and another one.
I wanted to be a TV presenter. So I said in 2018, I need to start from somewhere. I don't care if I get rejected. I mean, it's all part of the greater good.
It's all part of the growing process, isn't it? Tomi, come on, give us a couple of your items on your bucket list.
Okay, before I die, I want to have a business. I want to have I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to have something I'm in charge of. I want to be my own boss. I'm sure
you're one now. You've got a glowing career, haven't you?
Yeah, but I want to do something like, you know, I create something. I want to be a solution to something. You know how, because I'm very I think so deep, when I look at the iPad, sometimes my husband just says, you're very crazy. I'm like, but you know, somebody actually thought about, oh, one day I think people should be able to carry computers around. And I'm sure you're like, no. So people actually sit down to think. Mobile phones. And I'm like, what do I do with my brain? I need to think about something.
You could be the next Steve Jobs. Gosh, there's been so many relations on this topic.
But to be honest, it's not going to be on the technology aspect.
Not on technology, but on something else.
Yes. And it's already cooking.
Well, this discussion has already ticked off one of my bucket list items. It's brilliant talking about that. Now, for some, the thought of going out to dinner, the theatre or on holiday on your own is a bit scary. But what if there's something you really want to do and don't have anyone to go with? Should you miss out or dig deep and just go for it? Studies have shown people can actually have a good time whether they have company or not. So, ladies, are you brave enough?
Yes, I am.
Tomi, go on.
I am so
I can tell that you are brave.
Like, I'm one of those people that I love to hang around people, but I believe in something. Never tie your happiness to anyone. So always be happy with or without. So, for example, if you tie your happiness to even a man, I'm just saying, I'm just saying.
You're a married woman.
I know.
Be careful.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But just to be practical, you never know who is watching that needs that encouragement. You just feel that, oh, I can do anything without him. I can, and maybe something happens to him. Not even maybe divorce. I mean, you have to be ready that with or without, I can be happy. Even with, friends or without friends, just be your own kind of happy.
Yeah, I think that's important. But Tosin, have you ever rode solo? And I mean, like going to the cinema on your own, going to a restaurant by yourself.
All the time.
Do you?
At least once in 2 weeks, I need to do something on my own.
Why?
Even if it's go to the cinema. It improves the quality of your relationship with other people.
Oh,
so when you take time out of yourself, you kind of find yourself, find your voice. Because most times when you're in a group with other people, you tend to go with what they say or do what they're doing just because other people are doing it.
But can't you do that, on your own in the car? Or on your way to seeing your friends, or if you're on the tube on the way to seeing your friends, you have that thought process, don't you?
But when you take time out of yourself to kind of, think to yourself, what do I like? Am I interested in what I'm doing right now? Just taking the time out to think for yourself, it does help to find your own voice and find your own stand.
Very reflective,
It improves the quality of relationship with other people. When you're comfortable with being yourself and being an individual, you can bring more to the table. When you're in a relationship or in friendships, you can support people more, but because you understand yourself, so you can relate to other people.
That's great context there, but Tomi, there must be some places you won't go on your own. Would you, for example, go to a wedding by yourself? We're talking a really, a grand, big, fat African wedding. Would you go alone?
I will definitely go alone. That's what I said. I can be happy with or without anybody. So I love to dance. When I go to parties, I'm not really thinking about the food anyway. I'm just thinking about the dance. Yeah.
Wow.
Because you know what, when I go to parties, I eat before I leave my house, because you've been in situations that you get to the party, the queue is forever.
That's very wise. That's
the queue is forever. It's a buffet, and it's like by the time you get there, all the things you want is
and
not
it's cold.
there.
The jollof
and
could
it's
be
cold. So I eat before I go. So I'm not really like, oh, when are they going? When item 7? I'm not. But I want the music. So I want to dance, and I can dance alone.
Wow.
So and that is my happy place when I'm dancing. And talking about this solo thing, I've done one before. I went shopping one day at Selfridges, and when I left, I love Thai food. And I just went to Busaba. I enjoyed the fact that I was alone. Sometimes you miss all those it's when you're alone, you're like, oh my God, it's so cool. I'm not one of those people thinking, oh, they're looking at me like, no, I don't care because I'm hungry and I want to eat, and it's, that thing builds your self-confidence.
No, it does. I totally agree with you, and I've done that many a time in lots of different countries. But I would say, Tosin, you're a student. Do you think that there are younger millennials that may feel like they can't be alone? Because, if you look at social media websites, you've got to be with a friend. Oh, I'm enjoying with my girls, or I'm with my guys. It's all about that perfect picture. And, if you're alone in a picture or you're taking a selfie, it's not really as fun.
That's because some people want to. Social media these days is all about impressing some other person. If people can see what you're doing, and from there you can get some kind of recognition. But you definitely need to be comfortable being an individual, because when you're in a relationship, friendships, you tend to go. it's all about compromise when you're in relationships such as that. But you need to be able to put yourself first and understand things that you need, make right choices and all of that. And definitely this generation, people do feel like you need a whole lot of friends and things for people to recognize you, for you to be at a certain standard in society. But honestly, the truth is about just growing yourself, and from there, yeah.
If you had a choice though, you know, whether or not you should go to a restaurant by yourself or go with friends, would you choose your friends?
To be honest,
depends how much you love the food.
Exactly. No, so it doesn't get finished easily, right? No. No, to be honest, I don't mind if my friends are there, but to be honest, I'm as happy if they're not there. I just feel there's time for everything. There's a time for you to mingle with your friends, and there's just that time for you to be alone. Like Tosin said, it makes you reflect on yourself too. You know, there's just that thing, like, you're just thinking, okay, it's just relaxing. I love it.
Tosin, the final word with you. What would you say to anybody who does lots of things alone and feels really strange, or feels like, oh, actually, I shouldn't be doing this alone. I should be doing this with other people. What kind of words of encouragement would you give them?
It's absolutely fine to spend time on your own. It's important for everyone to grow themselves and to have your own aspirations and your own achievements and goals. So it's very important for you to take time for yourself. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to go out eating on your own. Just take time out for yourself, and in the long run, those qualities will be very good in a relationship, because you'll be able to be an individual and, you know, work cohesively with someone else.
Very, very reflective. Well, thank you, ladies, for not leaving me alone. I couldn't have done it without you. I promise you that. That's it from me, Juliana Olayinka, and my co-host for the morning, Tomi Badejoko and Tosin Yusuf. Don't forget, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Join me next time for more Noni Chat. Goodbye.